So where did it all start? What many would consider to be the center of the world.
So I've just arrived here to Israel. Almost didn't make it. You can see that I actually travel quite a bit. So the security here, they had an issue for some of the countries that I go to. They pulled me to the side and I had to go through some pretty intense questioning for about 4 hours. But you know what? They have a right to be on edge. There's a lot of countries that are all around them that really want to destroy this place. So Israel, thank you for letting me in.
What is it that makes this place so special? The Bible mentions Jerusalem nearly 1,000 times. Jerusalem holds a fascinating collision of religions, cultures, and worldviews, all with their own claims to this small piece of land in the middle of the desert. It seems to be a place of endless tradition, tension, and conflict. But is there a tendency to feel like there is more religion than faith here? Is it just tradition instead of walking with God? In my hunger to learn about revival, is this just a place for the museums? Or is God still moving in Israel today? I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly what I'm doing here. We're kind of making this up as we go along. But part of what brought me to Jerusalem is a rabbi friend of mine, Miles Weiss.
Shalom. Hello. We are Jewish, but we know that Jesus is our Messiah.
Miles is a Messianic Jewish believer who has spent his entire life taking Christians back to their Jewish roots, where he shares about the central role that Israel plays in world revival, missions, and end times. When you went to Jerusalem for the first time, was it as a Jew or as a Messianic
believer? You know, you've heard of Jerusalem syndrome, where people go to Jerusalem and they have a breakdown and they wear a white shirt and they carry a staff and they think they're Elijah and they start, they flip out. Well, I had Mount Carmel syndrome, which was weeping and having God reorder my DNA around my Jewish identity and my burning desire to see the world reconciled, Jews and Arabs, Jews and Christians. I believe we're in the season, 1700 years after Constantine, where God is awakening Romans 9 through 11 for the entire world.
Miles told me that this was his signature portion of Scripture. It talks about God allowing Israel to be cut off so that the nations could be brought to faith, and that he would again bring the people of Israel back to God in his time.
If you read that literally, it is unmistakable that God has always intended this story of the Jewish people to run through history in a term of chosenness, but with the proviso and the absolute assurance that whosoever will could be grafted into that story. And that at a certain point, those of us that were broken off by unbelief would be grafted back in. And this picture of the olive tree that is so prevalent in Israel is one of the most beautiful pictures of what God's doing in the earth and what he's doing right now. I think of the misunderstanding of the word law. There's been a Marcionite heresy, really. Marcion was a first century heretic who divided the Bible into angry Jehovah, happy Jesus, bad Jews, good Christians, dangerous law, mercy, and grace. But it's not that way. It's one long story. I have some friends who take that in the Christian Bible, they take out that white page between Malachi and Matthew and they circumcise it. They take a razor blade and cut out that blank page because they want to refer to it as one long story. Yeah. Somebody will say, oh, this tree is from the time of Jesus, but it's not. But it's the same guy who says, shop where Jesus shopped. Some of these trees are 800, 1,200 years old. They're old trees. And what happens is when the tree gets old, it kind of gets hollow on the inside. And think of Israel as the old tree. And the shoots grow up from the ground, and you can actually see the striations as they wrap themselves around and become a support. to the old tree. And the word for those shoots is netzer. Netzer is where we get the word Nazareth. It's where we get the word Notzrim, which is the modern Hebrew word for Christian. So check this, the Notzrim are the shoots that are growing up around the base of the old tree and supporting the tree. 20 years ago, when the shopkeepers would see a Christian tour come by and the Chinese would be in the street waving flags and doing what we do, the shopkeepers would say, the Notzrim are here. Now, with a tear in their eye and a heart of gratitude, I hear them say, the Notzrim are here. Something is changing spiritually.